Welcome back to the IB Investor channel. In this video, we'll try to answer the question how to become a millionaire without big inheritance or luck. Now, there's a number of ways to become a millionaire. You could start a business like many famous people such as Steve Jobs or Elon Musk. You could save a lot of money over the years, or you could take advantage of the compound interest effect, which we'll take a look at in this video. But regardless of your choice, you must have a set of traits in order to achieve these goals. Without, for example, patience, you won't get very far. Now, the most important step here in terms of making a lot of money and creating wealth is time. However, time is something we can't manage. We don't know as humans when we're going to find out about compound interest, and we don't know if it's going to be at young age or if it's going to be at old age. And we don't know exactly how much time we have here on Earth, So for that reason, I'm just gonna, we're not gonna talk so much about it in this video, but it's gonna be mentioned later on. So for that reason, I think the second most important step then is to save a lot of money. Now, saving a lot of money, there's a number of ways you can do this. You can set up a budget, you can probably learn a lot of lessons from your parents or so on, or people around you who probably have a lot of good advice, and we're not going to jump into the different steps that you can do, but I think it's just important to know that the more you save at early age, the better and faster the compounding machine will be. And again, we have the time aspect here, which is very important, but just make sure that at least you are aware that the more money you save at an early age, the faster the compounding machine will be. And just to quote Charlie Munger is one of the wealthiest people in the world, and he said, the first 100K is pain, but you got to do it. I don't care what you have to do. If it means walking everywhere and not eating anything that wasn't purchased with a coupon, find a way to get your hands on the first 100K. So the lesson here is just, do whatever you can in order to save money, use coupons, don't buy expensive food or whatever. Obviously treat yourself whenever, but, at least be aware. Try to save the money to the best of your ability here at young age. Now for this example, I wanted to show you how the compound interest can work very differently depending on how fast you find it. So on the left side here on the example, we have Kelly, and on the right side we have Sarah. Now Kelly found out about compounding of interest at a very young age. So here we have the age table here. So at the age of 18, she found out about compounding interest. And we're just going to assume that both of these investors have a CAGR of 10%, meaning that the money compounds at 10% annually here. So Kelly deposits $10,000 a year, as we can see here in the table, and we can see here for the first year, let's just assume that she put it in at the start here at age 18, and we can see that in the first year that 10,000 grew to 11,000 just by adding 10% here to the value. For the second year, when she turned 19, that money grew to $23,000 here. And here we can see how the money grows. So here basically she stopped at the age of 27. She decided that she didn't want to save money anymore. She wanted to do something different in her life and just, want to, spend money on real life stuff or whatever. And that's fine. But we can see the money invested just keeps on growing. So here we can see, even though she stopped here to add to the deposit here, the money still compounds here in the background. So she'll actually become a millionaire here at age 46 or almost 45, depending on how you look at it, without adding in any extra deposits here ever since age 28 here. So quite impressive. Now, when we look at Sarah here, she didn't save any money at all here or deposit any money into her investing account. So she started only when she was 28 here, at the same time here as Kelly when she stopped. So, same story here. She adds about $10,000 here the first year. It grows to $11,000 and it grows and grows, and she keeps on depositing. But as you can see here, Kelly just added, $10,000 for 10 years, then she stopped. But here you can see that Sarah actually deposited a lot more money over time, much more than Kelly's 10,000 a year. So even in her, 47 year of age, she's still depositing money here, but the money is not $1 million, as we can see here in the case of Kelly. So Sarah is yet to, catch up with Kelly, even though she still has been depositing way above, if she were to stop like Kelly did, she would have stopped at 38. So at this number here, but she didn't. She kept on adding on to the deposits here, but it didn't help her. She's not catching up. So, here she's halfway to Kelly's 1 million. So I think this is kind of important to just know that the sooner you start in life, the faster the snowball effect will take place. So I think it's just a good lesson to learn here. The sooner you start, the faster, if you will, you can stop depositing more money, or you can just keep adding on to it, if whatever you want. But this is what Charlie Munger was alluding to, that whatever you do, start adding on to the first 100K, do a lot of deposits in the beginning, do whatever you need to do in order to drive those numbers up to the first 100K, and then you can ease the gas and do whatever you want. So that's what Kelly did here in this example. So she did another 3 years here, and then she eased off the gas completely and didn't do any more deposits. So I just think it's an interesting case. Obviously Sarah would have caught up if her CAGR return here was higher than 10%. If it was perhaps 20% or so, she perhaps would have caught up with Kelly. But I think this is a very good lesson visually how it can look like if you do a lot of deposits early on at early age here, and certainly a lot of money here. So if she would have added more money here, Kelly, she would have become a millionaire much faster. And probably the same case with Sarah. If she would have had higher deposits here and higher returns, she would have gotten the 1 million much faster. But I think this visually at least compares two situations here where one starts earlier and one starts later in life, and how that can affect how much money you end up with at the end of the game, so to speak, here at age 47. You can see that it's a big difference here, a very big difference. Now for a second example here, just to point out that you can actually catch up, but it does require 20% returns here in this example. So for Kelly's case, we still have the 10% a year and the same deposits here. For Sarah, we also have the same kind of deposits here at $10,000 a year, but the difference is 20% here. And we can see that for the first year, she made $2,000 here from returns here, whereas Kelly only made 1K. So that's the difference, and we can see here how much faster it goes. So already here at the age of 41 here, we can see that Sarah actually overtook Kelly here in terms of net worth here. So it just provides some information here that if you have higher returns compared to that of your peers, then you will probably catch up to them even though you started later in life. But please do remember that I think expectations wise, I think expectations should probably be closer to 10% rather than 20%. But if you're really good investors, you've made a lot of good stock picks, then it is possible to catch up to somebody, quite faster here, or quite a lot faster here. And we can also see the end value here at age 47 that Sarah actually has almost twice that of Kelly at the age of 47. So this value here, the 20% a year instead of 10%, makes a huge difference over time. But in the short term, Sarah was struggling for many years here to catch up. So it took all the way here to 41, as I said before, until she caught up. So it is possible to, increase your net worth by the end game here, so to speak, if you have high returns that of your peers. But perhaps you have to take riskier, positions in order to be able to achieve this number, because I think expectations wise, it's good to have 10% in your mind at least. Now I just wanted to add an example where, you have very good savers here, where instead of depositing 10,000 a year, they deposit twice that, so $20,000 a year. And here we can see the massive difference, actually, how fast it goes now to get the first million here. So instead of, the number being 46 year or something like this, the number is now 38. So increasing that deposit to $20,000 makes a massive difference here. And including Sarah here, in the last case here, we saw that Sarah didn't reach, or sorry, in the first case, Sarah didn't reach the first million here because the 10,000 at a 10% return was too low to reach it on the table. But now we can see that she's actually reaching it here at the age of 45. She manages to get the first 1 million. So I think, if anything, if you're very good at saving money, then as you can see in these examples, even though you have a, let's say, normal return of 10% here and you start a little bit later in life, you will still be able to get that first million here before going into retirement here at 65. So here you actually have 20 years left or something before you go into retirement. So, even if in this example, you still become a millionaire, but the only difference here is that these persons here, Kelly and Sarah in this example, they managed to save $20,000 a year. So that can be one, addition that investors can do. If they are falling behind in age, at least they can catch up in terms of becoming millionaire long before retirement if their deposits each year are much greater. And of course, if we were to double this to $40,000 a year, then of course it would go much faster. But I think, $40,000 for a normal person to deposit each year, I think that's kind of unrealistic. Not a lot of people would be able to do so. And probably those people who can put away $40,000, I mean, most of them will probably become millionaires by just saving money normally, so to speak. So because it goes so fast. So, I just thought it was interesting to show you a couple of examples on how to become a millionaire. But as you can see, it's very important to get the time right. It's very important to get the deposits right. And then, of course, the return is also very important. So all those three metrics here that I described in these different examples are very important. But what I wanted to show was that there isn't just one pathway. There can be several pathways to get to the first million. But time is very important here. The sooner you start, the better. And obviously, the more you deposit, the better. And the higher returns you can get on top of that, the better. But, at least start, because that will set you aside from any other people, not becoming millionaires at all. So, all right, this is it for this video. Please hit the like button below and subscribe for more content. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.